Hi weaving friends, yes, I have a brand new piece of equipment for my studio. Well, it's not brand new, it's brand new to me, and I think I got an absolute bargain with this one. This is the Ashford Traveller spinning wheel. It is a single drive band wheel with a single treadle, and it's quite different in construction to my more traditional Sleeping Beauty New Zealand wheel, which is a double drive band wheel. But this one is quite different because the wheel is smaller and it has an upright sort of appearance, whereas my Sleeping Beauty has the more traditional look of a spinning wheel. From looking online and trying to find out more about this wheel, I believe it would have been manufactured in the late 70s, early 80s. I'm not sure about that because they did have some different editions of this wheel. But of course it is an Ashford wheel, so it was made in New Zealand. And when I saw this one available on Facebook Marketplace in a town very close to me, I had to jump on it, especially for the price. I actually offered a lower price than was advertised and the seller accepted it. Obviously she wanted to get it sold fairly quickly. She said that her father had bought her this wheel and she was quite an older lady, and that she had used it initially and that her mother would then knit and crochet with her hand spun, but she hadn't done it for a long time. And she felt the wheel was just sitting around collecting dust and she'd prefer to see it go to someone, hence the lower price as well. So for that $60 price, that's 60 Australian dollars, I got the wheel and it came with 4 bobbins. Great, I love having plenty of bobbins. It also came with a vintage learn to spin kind of booklet from Ashford, but this is more about, it does say assembly instructions on the front, but it's not actually the assembly instructions for this wheel, so I'm not quite sure how that happened. This is a traveller wheel, this is a booklet for a traditional wheel. So it's not that much help to me, but that's fine. And another thing that the lady gave to me as part of the sale is a niddy noddy that her father had made many years ago, which is kind of cute. I don't have a niddy noddy, I've got an umbrella swift, but this will come in handy too, I reckon. So since this is my first experience ever with a single drive wheel, I thought it would be really useful to share it all with you. From cleaning the wheel to setting it up to starting to understand how it works, and also to spinning my first bit of yarn on it. I also wanted to give a quick little bit of encouragement because I've heard from a lot of you lately since I started to do some more videos on spinning, because I have been really drawn to spinning lately like a magnet. I wanted to encourage a lot of you who want to start to spin. I know that you're looking for a good deal on a second-hand wheel, and I just recommend, and I would recommend the same for if you're looking for a second-hand loom, to just be as patient as you can, because I think if you wait and you look and just do it in a calm and peaceful kind of way, that the right piece of equipment will come to you, but it won't always happen right away. So I'm looking at you, Christy. I know how much you want to start, and there are lots of others like you as well. And it's not necessarily affordable to buy a brand new wheel. I know they can be very expensive. And trust me, Christy, if I could ship this one all the way to you, I would do it, but it's not feasible. But just keep your eyes open. Contact local guilds, look on Facebook Marketplace, look on whatever your local online sellers are, Craigslist, eBay, Gumtree in Australia. There are so many different places. I have found that Facebook Marketplace is a really good place to find things. This wheel that I've just purchased, it wasn't on a spinners group or a fiber arts group. It was just on a local buy, swap and sell group. So make sure you check those kind of places as well. Put it out there to different people who might be in the know what you're looking for, roughly what you're looking for. And guess what? As soon as they hear of something, they're going to think of you straight away. But yeah, be patient and it will come, don't worry. And in the meantime, maybe you want to start on a drop spindle. That's also an option Very, very affordable option. I can't say that I ever made a drop spindle really work for me. Maybe if I tried it now, these days, I might have a different experience, but many years ago when I tried it, it didn't work so well for me, but I know a lot of really skilled drop spindle spinners out there, and yeah, it is a super affordable way to get started. So have a look into that as well if you're really desperate to get into spinning. Also, if you are looking for spinning resources, there are lots out there, but a few that I will mention that I've benefited from personally. Gillian Eve has a really great YouTube channel that is mostly about spinning. She also does weaving and other fiber arts. Yay. And I already mentioned Peter from Twisted Threads, that he has some really helpful videos and gets into all kinds of fiber arts adventures that are really interesting to follow. And then the other one is the Ashford YouTube channel, because they have all kinds of videos on there for their products. Most of their videos will probably be for the more modern wheels, but you'll often find that a lot of the information applies even if things are in slightly different places. And of course, there are tons more resources out there that I haven't even come across yet. So make sure that you just do a Google search on YouTube. You'll find a lot of things that will help you out. Okay, so what we're going to do first is, because this loom has been sitting around, the previous owner said that it has been collecting dust. It doesn't look too dusty to me, but it can't hurt to give it a bit of a wipe down, so that's what we're going to do first. For the double drive band, when the wheel turns, and you've got the two, well, it's a one long continuous band, but it's in a figure eight, so it's doubled up. So you have the, when you turn the wheel, you have one of the bands going over here and one going here on the bobbin. So it's actually turning the flyer and the bobbin at the same time. And you can adjust the tension over here, tighter or looser as you need to. But with the single band, there's just one band and that goes onto the flyer, and the bobbin is actually controlled over here by the Scotch tension. I'll show you a bit more about that once we actually get into it. I need to get this set up first so that the tension is correct. But that's the main difference between the two wheels. To learn a little bit more about this tensioning system, which is different to anything that I've used before, I did a bit of an internet search and I found a really great video by Pete from Twisted Threads where he actually talks about the correct way to set up Scotch tension, and he was specifically talking about an Ashford wheel. So that was super handy for me and helped me to understand what I need to do next. So I'm going to follow his method for actually getting the tension correct and then starting to spin. So the first thing that he said was to kind of back off on the tension on both the drive band tension and the Scotch tension over here. So that is how I'm going to progress. And then from there, his idea was you work your way up to what feels like good tension to get started. So this is the drive band tension here. So I'm just going to release that. You can see things start to move. And he said that that should be, you should loosen it off so that rather than turning the whirl, it kind of slips on it. So that's almost what's happening there. Hang on. Pretty much. It's hardly moving. And then he said for the Scotch tension, to also back that off. So the Scotch tension knob is here. Back that off so that the bobbin spins freely. So I wouldn't say it's spinning really freely. Starting to. I did actually, I took the bobbin off and I oiled the metal shaft because I felt like things were just a bit stiff. So that's now spinning. And then he said you want to tighten that Scotch tension up to the point where there's, it's actually stopping after you spin it. Like it's not stopped completely, you can still spin it, but it's stopping itself. It's kind of doing that now, which makes me feel like it's, I don't know whether it's oiled well enough. I guess I'll figure it out over time, but I'm going to tighten up that tension a little now. And I think it was about that point he had it at. And then, so when I operate the wheel, this should be spinning this whirl. So I need to tighten that up a bit. Okay, so that's starting to spin, and he did say that the bobbin won't spin at this point until you've got yarn in there and you're actually spinning it. So I don't know, my Scotch tension, it seems pretty loose, but I can have a go at that and see how it goes. This is all pretty new, so I will just using the treadle a little. That looks to be doing what it should be doing. And then, of course, you continue to adjust the tension as you're spinning, because as the yarn starts to wind onto the bobbin, that changes the tension. It's exactly the same with a double drive band as well. I did want to show you the two different tensioning devices. It's a little bit hard to show this really accurately because for the Scotch tension, you've got a knob over this side, and then you've got the wire that goes up and over the bobbin, and then it goes onto a spring right here. So it's a little bit hard to show the whole thing from one angle. We'll probably do a few different angles. But this is where I've got my Scotch tension at the moment. I don't have a huge amount of tension on it. And it's basically a fishing wire that goes around a knob here. And then when you turn the knob, that's what tightens the tension. And then you come up over the bobbin, and there's a spring. It does say in the online instructions that I have found by Ashford that this spring, it shouldn't be like spaced out, pulled that much. It should be more like that. That's the happy amount for it to be. So I think I'm okay with that part. And then the tension for the drive band is here. So I've tensioned that to the point where, as I just showed you before, everything's turning except the bobbin's not turning yet. And I already tensioned the bobbin before. So I think at this point that we are ready to try spinning some yarn. So that's exciting. We'll have a go and see what happens. Okay, I'm just showing you from the top at the moment because again, I can't get all of the angles in one shot. So there is a leader on this bobbin, which is just some yarn that's already on there that we can use to connect up with. And there's an orifice hook. This looks, looks a little bit ancient. I think that's slightly rusty. And the band has certainly seen better days, but as long as it does the job, that's fine. So I'm coming through the orifice, grabbing the leader. Oh, that's tricky. Yeah, I need to look at what I'm doing. There we go. And then just hanging the hook back on. With my Sleeping Beauty wheel, my double drive band wheel, I have a lovely little hole and little knob for the end of the hook to go on. This one just hangs here, which makes it a bit of a liability for me anyway, that it might get lost, but no, it shouldn't get lost. It should be fine. So I've got a little bit of fleece here. This is combed and carded and ready to go, just as I like it. This is the beautiful polwarth from Windara Farm, and I'll leave the link to them down below. I mentioned Pete from Twisted Threads before too. I will leave the link to his channel below. He does all sorts of interesting things. Okay, so I'm just teasing out my fleece to start with. That makes it easier to draft it out. And, you know, the best way to learn something is to just launch in sometimes. Okay, I'm not learning to spin, I'm just learning a new wheel. So I can launch in, I can afford to launch in. All right, let's go and see what happens. All right, so I'm getting some twist there. And yes, it's feeding in as well, so they're both good signs. The bobbin still feels a little bit stiff, but I do like the rate at which it's feeding in. It's about perfect actually, because it's putting in enough twist and it's taking the yarn in just gently without snatching and without having too much twist, overly twist. So it's good. The actual wheel, this feels quite different to me. The wheel is smaller, and the way that the treadle is set up, I'll show you in a moment, but it feels a little bit uncomfortable at the moment because there's like a bar that's hitting my leg when I treadle. I'm going to try swapping to my left foot. It certainly doesn't spin as freely as my other wheel does. But that might be about me getting the right rhythm. Now my yarn's broken. These are all just little learning curves. There, it keeps going backwards. And it'll be fine. I'm just learning what I need to do, what the wheel needs me to do. I'm just going to move over because I've got a little bit of yarn on there now. And yeah, I don't know, it's not going to work with my left foot because I don't have that coordination. I'm right-handed. I do really like how it takes in the yarn. That's really nice. That feels really good. I'll just give you another look from another angle. Okay, so I've relaxed back in my chair a little bit and I find that that's much better on my leg. My leg isn't hitting that bar so much now. I think one of the things is the treadle for this wheel, as opposed to my other wheel, is higher. And so I have to push more on it. Whereas the other treadle on my other wheel is lower to the ground. It's a little more comfortable to use. And I find the same when I'm driving a car. I like an accelerator that's lower to the floor, because if I have a high accelerator, that over time gives me a really sore right hip when I'm using my right foot on that all the time. So very frequently when I'm driving, as much as possible, I use cruise control to negate that happening. But yeah, so that's something I noticed with this wheel. The treadle is definitely higher and it doesn't treadle as easily. The size of the wheel definitely feels much shorter as far as the rotation goes. So I feel like I'm trying to treadle much faster. That's my initial feeling anyway. All right, how are we going for yarn? We're ready to move over to another hook. I really like all of this setup. This is very nice. And as I said, I love how it's feeding on to the bobbin. That is just great. You know what I'm going to try? I'm going to try just lowering my chair a little bit and seeing if that helps with the, I almost said the accelerator, with the treadle. Not driving a car now. Okay, so having lowered my chair, my leg is now hitting that bar again. I'm going to show you what I mean by the bar. So I hope you can see this, but at the front here, it's got this bar and you can store your treadles on there, which is super handy. But if I had a treadle there, that's going to be, if I had a bobbin there, that's going to be digging right into my leg. But let me show you when I'm actually treadling how my leg's hitting that bar. And actually lowering my chair has just kind of made it worse. So can you see that? Each time my leg is hitting that bar. And that's not comfortable. So I'm going to try making my seat higher again. And it's not as bad, but I'm still hitting it. What am I doing wrong? Somebody has to be able to tell me. There has to be a way around this. That my positioning is not correct or something else is going on, because that is so uncomfortable having my leg there, because I feel like I just don't have the space. And surely not everyone who uses this wheel has that problem. So there must be a solution. I'm trying to kind of angle myself a little more. That doesn't really help. What if I make my chair even higher? This is as high as it goes. No, still not. Still not. Okay, I'm going to go back down a bit. I'm going to try moving around this angle a little bit, even though that feels awkward. Okay, so at that angle, my leg doesn't hit the bar. It's just, it lightly touches it, but it's not pressing against it, so it's not as uncomfortable. But now I'm kind of angled to the left of the wheel, which feels a bit weird. Maybe I just need to find a happy medium. I'm used to sitting like directly facing my wheel. This is more comfortable, guys. Because I'm angled, and I've even with my left knee, I've got it very close to the wheel, but it's not touching it. So I feel like I've got a little bit more space when I'm angled like this, and then I have to sit right back in my chair to be comfortable. Interesting. So these are my first impressions of never having used a single drive wheel before. yeah, it's interesting. It's different. Currently, I like the top half more than my other wheel, but I like the bottom half on my other wheel more for ease of use. So, and I think I said I do feel like this is a little stiffer than it should be. Like the wheel's a little more laboured than it needs to be. And I don't know how comfortable it's going to be for me long term having to work the treadle like this. It feels like a lot more work than my other wheel. So this angle is just to show you how I'm finding it most comfortable to spin on this wheel at the moment. So I'm angled off to the left of the wheel. I'm sitting like right back in my chair. This is my office chair that's, you know, height adjustable and seat adjustable and all of that. I've had this one for years and I use it for weaving on my rigid heddle looms and also on a table loom if I'm using it on a stand. And it's a fantastic chair, and I also use it for spinning with my other wheel as well. But I don't usually, I kind of look like I'm slouching. I don't usually sit like this when I'm spinning with my other wheel. I don't think it matters if you're angled away from the orifice a little bit rather than direct, because as soon as I try and go direct, then my leg's hitting that bar again, and I don't like that. It makes it so uncomfortable. So I'm angled out to the left, but I think that's okay as far as the orifice is concerned. The absolute best thing about this wheel, how it's feeling at the moment, is just the way that it's spinning the yarn. It's doing a beautiful job. As I said, putting in a really nice amount of twist and taking up the yarn really well. So if anyone can help me out with some advice as far as my positioning goes to make this a more comfortable wheel for me to use. I should say also I'm quite a short person, or like maybe I'm slightly below average for a female. I'm like 163 centimeters tall, which is that 5'3" or 5'4"? I'm not really sure. I'm not great with the feet conversions, but yeah, that's to say I'm not tall and I do have fairly short legs. So it's not a height problem. It's something else. But I'm sure that someone can tell me, and I would appreciate you telling me because I like this little wheel. I'd like to use it a lot. It's great to have two wheels, to think that I can have a lot of yarn going at once, because I've really been bitten by the spinning bug lately. And that's why I had to grab this wheel when I saw it for such a good price. All right, friends, well, I'll continue to spin. And of course, if I have any updates, like if someone tells me I need to change my position and I try it and it helps, or if I just find that anything else is different or I learn anything new, then I'll come back and talk about that as well. All right, friends, until next time, happy spinning and weaving, of course.